I had a boss who refused to let me take an unplanned vacation to see my grandma on her deathbed. I quit on the spot. It was strange because up until that incident, she was really cool and laid back. But when I asked for the weekend off to go visit my dying grandmother, she snapped and lectured me about how I needed to plan my vacation better. Oh my goodness. Hi, my name is Diondra Filicetti. I'm the author of the book Engagement Economics: Increasing Performance and Profitability by Engaging Your People. And in this series, I talk about how companies have gotten engagement severely wrong and what I think they could have done better. Keep in mind the perspectives shared in this video are my professional opinion based on publicly available information and my experience in leadership development. They should not be taken as HR or legal advice. Now let's get into the scenario. You would think that this is such a simple one, but this is a huge missed opportunity to develop leadership relationships. There's some commentary back and forth here as well, asking some questions. Someone asked, what was her reaction to you quitting? And the user goes, she honestly seemed surprised. I had had that job for several years without incident. When I went back in to pick up my last check the next week, I informed her that my grandma had actually passed away during the week. So boy, was I ever glad that I had taken my vacation to go spend time with her. If you've not been in a position where you stand to lose someone you love, you really don't realize how it actually puts everything into perspective. A leader should know that. This is the human side of leadership that needs to come out. A lot of the time when we talk about engagement, we're talking about how much our employees can do for us, how productive they are, what's their performance like. But it's moments like these are defining leadership moments that set the tone for everything moving forward. And the thing is, when we have a sick and or dying loved one, all of a sudden nothing matters more than that. We are willing to sacrifice our job because it's simply just not as important. And if you've never been in that situation, you're ready to walk away from everything. And so in this moment, when this leader really had the opportunity to create a connection and support someone, they've really damaged the relationship, and at this point it's irreparable. The employee quit on the spot, and rightfully so. There was so much wrong with what this leader said. Talking about planning vacation, this is neither a vacation nor is this a plan. Nobody can plan when their loved ones are going to fall ill. And if you've ever had to take care of an ill or sick loved one, there's nothing about it that's a vacation. The other thing too is that vacation policies and practices exist to create a sense of fairness in the workplace, right? To make sure, people are sort of taking the amount of vacation allotted to them and they're not taking more or less than someone else. So we establish a sense of fairness and a baseline. However, there are moments like these when leaders need to apply a sense of discretion to say, you know what, this is not a vacation. This is a family emergency and you need to be there, because everything else that's happening here at work, we can deal with, we can manage that. And I think this leader, instead of reacting in the moment on frustration and selfish needs in terms of productivity, work coverage, accomplishments, this leader really should have taken a step back to say, you know what, we can figure that out later. That would have been the response that would have preserved this employee's engagement with the company, because that's the opportunity for the leader to say, hey, I actually care about you as a person. In those very important moments in our lives, the wrong reaction entirely changes our perspective on the person and the role that we're in. So this should be a leadership lesson for that leader, because had that employee come back after their grandmother was sick and after having been given a hard time about wanting some time off to spend the last few moments of this person's grandmother's life, how do you continue to be engaged at that point? How do you walk in every day and say, oh wow, this place values me. I want to go above and beyond and contribute here. I want to be productive. I want to use discretionary effort here. I want to help further the mission of this organization. No, absolutely not. What the heck? You would not feel that way by any means, because all this leader has told you is that we don't give a crap about you. We just give a crap about what you can do for us. So I think there was a certain psychological contract that was broken. You know, if I give my effort and loyalty here, then you'll treat me fairly. And the leader didn't hold up their end of the bargain. So unfortunately, that trust was broken. In my book, Engagement Economics, I have the hierarchy of team engagement needs. And the first level in the hierarchy is the environment. And within the environment, we want to have a sense of trust. Can we trust the people we're with? And these are the moments where we need to have that trust demonstrated for us. What I would have liked to see the leader do is take that moment to show a little bit of empathy and just say, I am so sorry that's happening to you. That's exactly where you should be. No worries. We'll worry about coverage later. We'll worry about your projects later. Go and be with your grandmother. Those few sentences would have shown that they support this employee in their time of need. And then when the employee returned back and was supported through their bereavement, then they would have come back saying, hey, you know, this place really does care about me, and would have likely stayed with the organization. So I think this was a big missed opportunity. I really can't say much more than that. I do find that there are some organizations that are big sticklers on planning vacation. You know, I understand the reason why you want to plan coverage and things like that, though you want to leave some room for flexibility for people to change their mind and, you know, adjust based on the year goes on. So I think more flexible vacation schedules is also very important. And also building in flexibility into the role whereby if something does come up, how does that work get covered? Are they able to plan ahead? Are they working alongside people who are kept abreast of what they're doing so that in instances like this, you can lean on somebody because someone knows what's going on? Having a little bit of redundancy on teams where you can have each other's back in these situations that happen to all of us is really important. So as opposed to being really strict on vacation, sacrificing engagement in the process, think of ways that we can overcome the inevitable when we have to be away from work. To the person that this happened to, I'm really quite sorry that it did, and rest in peace to your grandmother. I'm glad that you had the opportunity to spend those last moments with her. And if you have an engagement disaster of your own or a workplace horror story that you'd like us to talk about, let us know. If you go to the comments of this video, I will leave a link to a forum where you can share your story with us. In the meantime, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time for another engagement disaster.